Do you have any idea how many lamps you can make out of these 2 blocks? Quite a few! So I'm going to show you 22 Minecraft build hacks to do with the new honey blocks and the honeycomb block as well. So as you can see, these are 2 of the most orange blocks that have been added in a long time. And they're really unique as well. As you may or may not know, the honey blocks, they stop you falling so fast and they prevent you from jumping, which will come in useful later on. So let's hop into the first one, which happens to actually be my favorite. The honey block actually looks a lot like a sun. It's even kind of semi-transparent in here. So what I did was I got a couple of custom heads, which are the Earth and the Moon, and I placed them around it, and it really looks like a little planetarium style thing. So this little concept could be expanded to the whole solar system, or you could just put this on like a globe, or you could attach it to a couple of sticks and have it sort of rotate around. Either way, I think that works well, and if you want to get your hands on these heads, all you gotta do is put a command in a command block, and that will be in the description of this video. So let's move on, shall we? Now this, I guess, isn't really a build hack, but it is very useful. If you like to keep trading villagers, although this guy doesn't want to trade with me, inside your base, sticking them on a honey block means that they can't get out. So you can just pop some glass panes around them and they'll just stand there and they won't try and get out. But you didn't click this video to see villagers standing on top of honey blocks. No sir, you wanted to know how many lamps you can make. Right, so let's dive into it. Now this is a design that's been redesigned for the honey block. This, of course, is a dragon egg, which you can get by using a piston once you kill the ender dragon. If you put a honey block on the top, it looks like a lovely, lovely lamp. And you can even put a source of light, such as a sea lantern, in the wall to actually make it give off some light. And you can't really tell, unless you're really looking, that there's a light source behind it. Moving on, it's exactly the same design, but it works just as well with the honeycomb block. Moving on, we have another lamp, which is using end rods, which give off light themselves, with the honey block on top as well. Another design, which is again a lamp, is a cauldron with a brewing stand with a honey block. 3 very strange blocks that actually make a very good looking lamp, and it's a bit unique as well. And lastly, we have another lamp, but this is actually just an armor stand with a honeycomb block pistoned on top of it and pushed down. You can do variants of this, but I think it kind of looks cute. It kind of looks like someone's hiding in there, hiding inside a lamp, and my goodness. You can make 5 lamps? No, wait. 6 lamps. There's another one with just the brewing stand and the honey block. I don't know why these work so well, but honestly, the honey block and the honeycomb block both work fantastically in this situation. I just really love Minecraft lamps, okay? Moving on, one trick that you can do is put item frames on a surface like so and put a birch pressure plate. And it has to be birch because the texture on the top immediately lines up with the outside of this item frame. So if I use an oak pressure plate, you can see it kind of glitches through, but you don't have that problem with the birch. And if I put in a honeycomb block on top of that, it looks like cheese on a plate. Moving on, we've got quite a few to get through. We've seen this design before. It's scaffolding with a barrel on and maybe even a tripwire hook to have as a tap. But if you put some honey underneath and even a orange stained glass pane between them, it looks like it's leaked and it's dripping and it has gone all over the floor. Or you could have it so it's actually just got a dark oak trapdoor box that it goes into. Both of those work really well. The same reason that this block looks like a sun is the same reason it also looks like a burning hearth. So what I've got is a very large furnace here, and I've put some honey blocks behind an iron trapdoor wall. And you could use this by incorporating some furnaces in the bottom as your furnace design, because it actually looks like a fire. I mean, I don't know why you would choose to have honey instead of an actual fire, because you could put fire... It's a good idea, okay? Moving on, you can use the honeycomb block as a glass bottle style window, especially in some medieval style builds. So it kind of has that bottled effect that goes round and round. Obviously you can't see through it, but if you put some glass in front, or even just remove the glass altogether, it does have that effect that you see in some very old inns. This is one of the more practical uses of honey blocks, but there's a decent way to hide it. So, as you can see, there's a cow here, and underneath we've got some honey blocks. So basically, all you need to do is put a honey block 1 block down, and if something goes in here, whether it's you or a mob, they can't jump out. This means that you can create some pretty cool animal pens for the first time that aren't just made out of gates and fences, or this is the first 1 block high pens that are possible without having to make a deep hole. So here are a couple of designs. All you've got to do is put honey blocks around the outside of this and they won't be able to get out. And the honey block still works even if there's a trap door on it, and even if there is a brown carpet or any kind of carpet, you just can't get out. And so the main reason is to cover up the fact that there's a bright orange floor underneath here. But what an amazing way to create very minimalist pens that perhaps actually look a bit more accurate, seeing as cows don't typically jump over things a meter high. So there are lots of options from this very small feature of not being able to jump on honey blocks, and mobs are one of the big things. Now this premise can be used in more detailed ways or even more creative ways. So here I've built a pickup truck and I've decided to put a couple of cows in the back, and you can see them over the top there. In a usual situation, these cows would just get out, escape and run away. But that's not the only thing. These actually look pretty good as headlights as well. Because of the transparency of them, they fit and look like glass, which I think actually works quite well, especially if you're going for an older looking vehicle with yellowy lights. So, I don't know why on earth anyone would want to build a bedroom from the 1970s, but if you did, you can do that now with the honeycomb block because it's quite an intense pattern, and for some reason it works really, really well as a wallpaper. So don't throw out the bright yellow for your bedroom because this could work. Moving on, you can use the honey block for lighting. And you could do this by putting some sea lanterns above, and you can create like a fluorescent tube, although I don't know why you'd want an orange fluorescent tube, and connect them all up like this and the light will pass through them. And you can do this in several ways. I've used a slab on the top half of a block so that it kind of extends into the room a little bit more, but there's a few more light designs that you can do, such as this one, which is actually just using the honeycomb block sort of as a decorative background to a sea lantern. Just because it's really bright and orange, it kind of gives the effect that there's lots of light coming down, even if it doesn't do anything itself. And another design is exactly the same as the first, but on its own, a singular honey block embedded into the ceiling like so. I think it actually works really well, especially if you're going for an older style bulb. So plenty of options to do with lighting. And moving on to another practical use, you can actually use this as a defense. So I showed you earlier that the cows can't escape. Well, that goes for other mobs as well, including aggressive ones. So if you wanted to create just a 1 moat, you can jump over this gap, but mobs, they can't. They will fall in and get stuck. So let's demonstrate this. If I spawn a couple of zombies, yes, they'll burn, but they can't actually get to the villager. They'll just go in and get stuck. Obviously, if a skeleton's here, he's going to fire his arrow, but they can't reach him at all. Meaning that this can be quite a cost-effective way of making a moat, especially as you can hide the giant orange block. However, if you wanted it to look more authentic as a moat, you could put lava underneath because you can see through it, and just leave it open as honey blocks and they'll still do the same thing. But if you didn't want to jump over this, you could create a very rudimental drawbridge by using spruce trapdoors. You can open them up when you need them and close them behind you when you're done. But I must say, and I must warn you, although this seems very, very clever, the same thing can be achieved with just a 2 deep hole trench, although the mobs won't actually walk into it. So you could create some traps here, but honey could be quite difficult to collect this much of, so it may be easier just to make a normal trench. Moving on, it wouldn't be a Grian video without a way to hide your Minecraft base. So let's just grab a few blocks And if this is a prison cell, all I've got to do is throw lots of blocks in here, and you can see the honey below that, and it opens up a secret entrance. I haven't done very good redstone here, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if this is gonna work again. But you can see, you can use honey blocks to hide some redstone. So, what we've got here is 2 honey blocks. Now, let me explain why this works first. So, when you have a honey block, if you throw an item on it, you can see it floats on top. But if I throw an item against the honey block, it actually sits on top of the block here. You can see that it's uninterrupted. If I threw that against here, it doesn't do the same thing. So what this means is we can capture these blocks using a hopper as they slide down and straight into the hopper. Then we can use the hopper to generate a redstone signal, which then, don't look at my redstone, it then opens up a secret entrance into the void where you die. No. It opens a secret hole into another base of some kind. So there's lots of options here, and then all I did was cover it up with a painting. I'm sure there's going to be many other ways, but this is one that I hadn't seen done before, so I wanted to share it on this video. Moving on, we've got a couple more left. Of course, you can always use the honey block as honey. If you wanted to make a honey shop, and I know this would probably happen on the Hermitcraft server, you have glass and you fill it up with the honey block itself, and it's actually quite a nice effect because it's so transparent. It's just the grid pattern that can put people off connecting it up like this. And finally, again, using it as honey, you could create a big barrel or a big keg of the honey, and similar to the one we saw earlier, this is essentially a larger version of it. You can have a tripwire hook and then some orange stained glass panes dripping into a big box full of honey. And that is my 22 Minecraft build hacks for the honey block. It's not just a block that's great for features such as this, such as defense, such as hiding your base. It is also used in building, and there are a few ways to do that, as I have displayed, but I must admit, it's actually much better as a functional block. This has been a block for the redstoners, for the people that can get creative with like mobs and defenses and that sort of thing, but we can always find a way to use these in our build hacks. So that's it from me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I certainly hope you saw something that has inspired you. I personally love all of the lamps, and I loved the solar system one, but if you liked any other of these, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye!